Join us as we sail from Texas to the Caribbean. 3 summers, 3 legs, and the biggest adventure of our lives. Previously on Don Treader.
Bye-bye, Pensacola. Bye-bye, Anna. Oh, that is so awesome. Wow. I don't know if you can see it back there, but there's a big water spout right there. That's cool. Okay, I had a problem with the autopilot. This fitting just came out.
Little tunnies are considered by some as the trash fish of the tuna family.
How dare you, sir?
We finally pulled behind Redfish Point into an anchorage shown by Waterway Guide here, which incidentally is right by Smack by You. That's right. Even here they know my reputation.
So this came up with our anchor. Is anybody missing a bicycle? Okay, so that's putting in the new autopilot. Fine, what do you think about those photos?
I think you guys should have left me more beans.
Today's run will take us... Oh, wait. We're still stuck at the Panama City Marina. Oh well. Couple of more things to fix up and we'll head offshore for a multi-day run to St. Pete. On YouTube you see a lot of boat tours where everything on the boat is perfect. Everything is in its place and there's a bottle of wine on the table with a couple of glasses. Yeah, well that ain't real. At least not while you're cruising. At least not on our boat. So let me give you a real deal tour of a very lived-in Don Treader. So I'll start with my cabin. So walk you through everything here. This is the dinghy here, and then all the bedding that I've got folded up off of this bed. The stained pillow down there was from me servicing our steering, which promptly, and I should have known this, it promptly dripped through. This is the underside of the steering pedestal. Obviously, should have thought that went through a little more. So continue on around here. These are the Type 1 life vests. We usually use inflatables. I'll show you that closet here in a moment. But if weather really gets bad, we will go to these. All of us will wear these and chuck the inflatables, just because, you know, these are bomb proof. Up on top here is just our fishing equipment and various junk. These cabinets, all these cabinets I installed. Lights, these are just the cheap LED, you know, stick-on lights that you put on the ceiling, but they're great for kind of these cabinets and cubbies and everything that we use. So I keep my tools in here, and then just kind of other general assorted junk. Reason I don't keep clothes in here is the head, which is right here, vents through here, so you do get some odor. The holding tank is right under this piece here. So anyway, that's what's in this one. And then also to port further aft, we have a hanging locker here that we store this Magna cart that we can use to move stuff around. So really kind of a nice deep hanging locker. Keep fowlies in there, everything else that we need to. Get that light off. Okay, and then to starboard, all of these cubbies are just sliding cubbies. Here we keep harnesses and our climbing gear that we use for going up the mast, and basically anything that we're using to keep us on the boat. Back here I've got like nuts, bolts, screws. On this side, aft, we've got all electrical components, wire, you know, connectors, all kinds of stuff. And then in this one we've got adhesives and glues and tapes and zip ties and all kinds of stuff. So try to kind of keep it organized, but lots of storage space here. And this is where keep the clothes. You know, again, lots of room to store lots of clothes, dirty clothes down here at the bottom. And then up here we've got more storage on top of this counter for right now a guitar and my briefcase, but we also keep a lot of other stuff on here. Our trash is on the back side of this door, you can see here. And then this is another cabinet where we keep our PFDs, but we also have a couple of, let me get the light on in this one. Also have a couple of other cabinets you can see behind the PFD hanging locker. That's where we keep you know, various engine parts and just spare parts of all kinds. And then we keep oil change stuff and oil down here in the bottom of this cabinet. So again, just in the aft cabin, we got a great deal of storage. It's pretty cool. We also have this, which is the back cover of the engine. You can take this out on both sides, and then this leans forward and gives you access to the drive. But you got a couple of drawers here full of just miscellaneous junk, and then sliders. Okay, and then just junk on top of this. Keep our keys and flashlights up here, just so we have them readily accessible. This is the aft head. This is the one we use underway. It's got a macerator pump under the sink here, so it's pretty handy to use and just empty while we're beyond the 3-mile line. This is our ditch bag. We usually have this in the nav seat, so we can readily grab it if there are any issues. Just have it stored here because we're at the marina. But again, just more junk. Water jugs, collapsible water jugs, towels, and then all the, you know, your toiletries and stuff. But again, we're not using even a lot of space in there, so there's a ton of storage space in this Hunter. And then behind this, we've got some, you know, kind of additional hose for the engine, but there's a lot of storage space behind this shower seat. Okay, then coming in forward here, keep some food, just kind of trail mix, snacks, potatoes, onions and things down here in this storage space by the nav seat. And then again, we've got more storage under nav seat, under the nav table. This holds like our additional bilge pumps and air pumps and just all things pump. This holds our floodlight as well, or sorry, our spotlight, as well as our drill. And then we've got these two big storage compartments here behind the settee. The forward one there holds all of our papers and manuals and things like that. The aft one here holds our electronics and accessories for our iPads and covers and things like that. And then over on this side, Jesse's deep in the game there. Over on this side, here the storage is like paint stuff. So brushes and caulk and all that kind of stuff. And then in here we've got dry goods like cereal and other snacks, Pop-Tarts, things like that. Back over to port, there are two big storage compartments under the settee here. Under the forward we have a bunch of canned food and stuff. Here we've got additional food, and then we store things like our scooters and just kind of some other junk that we need. to access every once in a while. And then we also have 2 storage spaces under this settee, and the forward side of this are all of our other tools. So, you know, we've got jigsaws and drills and angle grinder and, you know, pretty much everything you could think of, Dremel. We're pretty well stocked with the tools. And then on this side, we've got like a couple of things of water. This is where the electrics for the air conditioner and the fridge and fresh water pump are, so we don't want to put too much or get anything heavy down there. And then in our galley, this is more dry goods in here, so coffee and snacks and things like that. Keep all of our dishes up top, some canned goods that we need ready access to. Have our coffee maker that we store underway. We use the French press, which is back here when we're underway. And this is our ice maker, hard at work, cranking out the ice for us. We always use that when we're at the marina, just to avoid buying ice. More storage under here, just for, you know, more canned goods and various things. Then we store fruit and vegetables under here, and then in this cabinet are pots and pans and spices and things like that. So again, lots of drawer storage space, more cubbies here for storage, more storage under the sink, as well as access to the sea cocks for refrigerator and drain for the sink. There's Pepper sleeping on Jesse's blanket, contributing dog hair to his life. And then this is the V-berth. Again, this is where the boys nest. Quinn typically takes this for the most part. Jesse likes to sleep on the settee, which is okay when we're at anchor. Show you a couple of... So the V-berth doesn't have nearly as much storage, obviously, as the aft cabin. But we have a couple of cubbies here for clothes for the boys. There's also a cubby down below here that we store just kind of various items that we need. And then there's also a tiny cubby here, but the water tank is underneath the V-berth, so there's really very little storage there. So mostly like hose or additional line or anything go under there. And then the forward head here becomes our garage. This holds just all the junk we've got, you know, from, as you see, fenders to sail covers to the packs we'll be using. But again, this has more storage, just like the forward head, behind the toilet seat here, which you can't see. And then more storage down here below the sink. And then it's got a great deal of storage behind these sliders and up top. So, you know, for those that say that, you know, these hunters or newer production boats don't have sufficient storage, I certainly have not found that to be the case. And this is just the inside of the boat. I'll do the outside of the boat later. But that's a tour of a messy boat and what it looks like while we're underway. We're always trying to, you know, kind of keep it as clean as possible, and when we go offshore we make sure everything's stowed and ready for waves. But you know, at anchor, this is what the life is. This is what it looks like. One more cheers to conquering another beach in Florida. Here we go.
In the name of the McCullough.
Huh?
In the name of the McCullough. McCullough.
Cole? What is it?
McCullough, a Scottish clan.
McCullough?
McCullough.
Oh, McCullough.
McCullough.
schooners here at Panama Beach. Jesse's got the burger. I got some blackened grouper. Quinn got the shrimp platter. Yumminess. All right. Time to eat. We are at Panama City Beach. Just kind of walking along. A little bit of a rainstorm. Not storm, but a little bit of rain coming in. But the boys are loving it. This is why we sail. Jesse, what are you doing to your brother? It's a nice sand toga, eh?
Help me.
We're about to see Quinn rise from the sand. Do it. Come this way, on your mark. Get set, go! Come on, Jesse. Come on. Hey, Jesse, how long have you been a plumber?
This is what Quinn sounds like when he's talking about his Battlefield game, or Battlefield 4. Alright, so I got this 776.8.99 78 88888 999 22 3456 78888 meter headshot with my Ford Magnum 44 loaded Magnum with a double-edged bayonet with a triple-packed magazine on it, fully loaded, and then I did a 360 no scope with a sniper achievement for doing you know, one of those little birds, the scout helicopters with the double machine guns on the sides. I jumped out of one of those, spinning around, and I shot it with my double-edged bayonet, triple-pack magazine with my Gold Mud Magnum.
Quinn, level of accuracy?
I'll give it an 82% because there were too many numbers.
There were way too
I don't
many
use
numbers.
that many numbers.
No, you got carried away.
The U.S. Coast Guard continues to search for a dad and his 3 children after their sailboat went missing off the Florida coast on Father's Day. In a news release, the Coast Guard said the man and his 2 sons, aged 13 and 15, and his 17-year-old daughter left Sarasota early on Sunday, June 19th. The man's brother said they were on their way to Fort Myers to have repairs done to the 29-foot sailboat. The brother says the last time he heard...
Now, the boys didn't know anything about this story, but I did. And I have to tell you that this last night, as I was planning, I was really nervous. And I was questioning my judgment about taking my family into this same stretch of water at the same time of year. You know, I think people most of the time think about sailing and cruising as relatively benign, and most of the time it is, but, you know, the sea is the sea, and the conditions out there can be anything but benign. The thing is, I knew all this way more than my boys knew it. I mean, they completely trusted me. And that was heavy. I mean, especially in light of this story. I have to say I wasn't sure I was ready for that level of trust. So I couldn't fault this dad for taking his kids where he did. I was about to do the same thing. Granted, I'd spent 2 years and a lot of effort and a lot of money getting this boat in as good a shape as it could be. And now it was time. Since our accident, one thing really became crystal clear to us in our lives. And that is, you can't just stay at the dock. Though it's so tempting to, and it's so easy to, you have to sail. You have to get out there and go. And so that's what we were going to do. So I spent the rest of this last night at the marina looking at the weather and scouring the gribs and looking at our route and just doing everything I could to plan as best I could for what we would face out there. We were going to sail. And I was not going to let my boys down. Okay, so I'm starting to plan our next leg, which will be a run from up here in Panama City down and around to St. Petersburg. And I've just kind of loosely laid in a route here, up here, trying to clear the shoals that we'll look at in a moment. And then these two waypoints are pretty flexible based on weather and wind. So if we go to routes down here, you'll see that this leg here is 225 nautical miles. So it's pretty straightforward sailing. In terms of fuel, we burn about 1 gallon an hour. I'm going to get more detailed calculations on that from our logs, but roughly 1 gallon an hour. And we can cruise around 6 knots pretty easily at about 2,800 RPM. So it's pretty comfortable for the engine and for the boat. That would give us roughly a 200-mile range with just the 40-gallon tank. And I'm carrying another 20 gallons on the rail. So I think we'll be fine with fuel. We'll need to kind of conserve and definitely do some sailing, a lot of sailing. But the reason I'm a little concerned about fuel is a couple of things. Let's look at the gribs. So these are the, this again is Zygrib. And as you can see, we plan on leaving, let me get back to, that's today, plan on leaving sometime Monday morning. So let's go to 0600 Monday morning. And this is what we look like here. So I can get down, down the line here at a close reach, about 40 to 50 miles to clear the shoals. So again, that would put us, let's call it 10 hours later. So if we go to, let's just go ahead and go to 1800, then you see where, the wind's starting to kind of shift. We'll have more of a beam run here, and then we can start making eastward. Roughly, again, if we come over here and look, this is in this area about 10 to 12 knots. So it should be pretty nice to kind of get down through here. And then at some point, obviously, we need to kind of turn into the wind as we start coming down into Tampa. And then over the next couple of days, you'll see that we have very light winds with a couple of wind holes coming up that we're going to want to avoid. And then there's this kind of big blow coming out of here that's showing up to 20-25 knots in the middle of that. But it's pretty short-lived, blows itself out. So we won't make it that far. This is happening Tuesday at around 0300. So by that time we'll still be out here. We may catch a little bit of it. And then the rest of the time is pretty mellow. Again, I'm assuming we're going to get in this whole thing I'm assuming is going to take us 2 full days and a bit. So all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning at 0600 as we're coming in. Again, it's pretty mellow coming out here, and if we can kind of make some east, then we can sail down the coast here. Now the other issue is weather, and I'm just going to pull up, if I can, Radar Pro. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. So this is really my only concern is, you know, these things are blowing off Tampa pretty much all the time. So, you know, coming in, we're going to need to time that. I'm going to watch this over the next couple of days. For the most part, what I'm seeing after watching this for a few days is everything is moving kind of northwest out of here. We've been dealing up in this area with everything kind of moving northeast. So, you know, as we were coming across, it was pretty easy to loop around the back end of anything that we saw. And that's what we've been doing here. You know, we're going to be sailing into it. And it typically looks pretty clear out in here. Stuff does build up, obviously. But I think as we come, you know, around the cape here that we were talking about, and then down through here, for the most part this area is relatively stable. So it's really just when we get close in that you know, the thunderstorms will become an issue. But I can check this, you know, pretty much anywhere as we're going coastal. But once I get out into here, it's just going to be, you know, watching with our eyes and keeping in mind, you know, the direction that these move and how we could loop them and come in. So, you know, I'm expecting we're going to catch something. At some point, we'll be prepared for that. You know, these do blow up, but dissipate pretty quickly out here at sea. So I'll also do, you know, obviously the hurricane check. But that, let's go back to iNavX. And back to our chart. But you know, that's why you can see what I'm trying to do here, you know, is just kind of stay out in this area where the air looks a little cleaner. We may move this waypoint, may bring that somewhat in if we see that we need to kind of come down above it, or we may take that down and kind of come straight in. So we'll figure that out when we get closer based on what we're seeing, and maybe add waypoints in there. But for the most part, I'm about to go through on a close zoom on all of this and just make sure we're clearing any hazards or shallows or anything else. But that's our plan for this trip. Again, should take us 2 full days is what I'm planning, maybe a little more, just depending, since the wind is so light and I don't want to use a lot of fuel. We may be going a little bit slower than intended. But that's our trip coming up, and there you have it. Hey everyone! Just wanted to give you a quick message to all of our patrons.
What are our patrons?
They're the very generous people that give us money for our videos.
Okay.
Yeah. So
people give us money for these?
Yeah, they donate.
That's crazy. Why would people give us money for these?
Because they're generous people.
That's crazy.
Yes. Okay. Fine. Just. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying, I just wanted to thank all of the patrons for being very generous and giving us money for the videos, which is a little crazy, but hey, you know, thank you. So I want to also let you know that only on our patron page we will be providing, you know, behind the scenes videos of, you know, what we think about what we're heading into and just kind of the mindset of being out there cruising. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a little bit of an extra for all of our patrons. Thank you very much for your support, and look forward to seeing you the next episode. I will now untie my children.
Hit the like and the subscribe button. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Smash that like button in the face.
Yeah, I'll make that next video if we get 10,000 likes.